Hello, beautiful beings. Hey, I recently received an email from a very nice man asking if I might put out a video answering some of the questions he had about reincarnation. I found his questions really interesting, and I thought you guys might too. So, as always, I will share my understanding of this process to the best of my knowledge. And if I don't know the answer, I will tell you that. So as you would probably agree, when most of us think of reincarnation, we understand it to be the rebirth of a soul into a physical body. So this, of course, goes along with the idea that the soul never dies. It just returns into another body, another life. And the other part of this thinking is the belief that reincarnation is required as a means of advancing up through the levels of consciousness to finally end up at home with God. And of course, these concepts differ with each religion or philosophy. Some accept this transmigration of the soul, and others don't. Yet, the most fascinating part for me is that the identification of the me, the I, is unchanging and immortal, traveling through numerous bodies, through an infinity of time and circumstance. I am always me, yet me in divergent lives. You know, it's like that lazy Saturday morning when you lay in bed with your eyes closed, knowing you don't have to get up and go to work, and your thoughts begin to wander over time. You remember that hike that you took with your friend when you saw the eagles. And there you are, right back into that place, watching the eagles as if for the first time. Or you might begin thinking about your next vacation. What will the next vacation be? Where will I go? You might see yourself standing on a green hillside overlooking a little village below. Then your thoughts might travel to the sweet memories of your honeymoon in Paris. And all the time, you haven't moved from that bed on that peaceful Saturday morning. That you that took that mind trip, that is who you are, not the body in bed. You are the consciousness, the thought. And that is the you, the self, who travels through lifetime after lifetime, incarnation after incarnation. This is the spirit/soul that never dies. You are always you, inhabiting different bodies at different eras and different timelines, perhaps different planets. It's always you. You in an alternate role, playing a new part for the expansion of that self, the I am. Okay, well, to more fully go there, and to give meaning and comprehension to reincarnation, we must first have some understanding of simultaneous time, or the past, present, and future existing simultaneously, as in Einstein's block universe. Okay, let's see. If we look at our lives as a, let's say, DVD, a DVD where our entire life is included on that DVD, which includes within it, of course, past, present, and future. Our whole lifetime has already been recorded. The movie's been made, beginning to end, onto that DVD. When we play the DVD of our life movie, it will unfold minute by minute in linear fashion, just as it appears to do in our reality. It's already on the DVD, what has happened and what will happen in that future. An event might be playing out, yet nothing on the DVD has changed. So we may believe, for example, we might believe that the past has happened because our brains contain memories of that past event. But you know, if we didn't have those memories, we would not have a past. Really, time doesn't exist except our perception of it. It's like a series of snapshots, second by second by second, all happening now, in the present moment. As Einstein said, the distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Einstein knows, he knows. So, this may help the discussion of reincarnation. Just as Einstein saw it, the past, present, and future are really an illusion because they are occurring concurrently, simultaneous to each other and everything else. There is only now. And this means that there are no past lives. No matter where they are occurring in Earth's history, they are all existing together, in unison with each other. This is why sometimes we have dreams of being ourselves, yet as another person, sometimes even another sex or another race, in a totally different life. We've just, through that dream, tapped into that timeline. Okay, so let's get really out there, beyond the simple idea that you were my father in this life, so in the next life I'll be your father, and so on. So to bring the concept of reincarnation into a workable dimension and discuss why it is the way it is, let's just say that at some point the reincarnation system was hacked, for lack of a better explanation, and became very different than it began. So the process when a human dies now is very different than it was, say, a few thousand years ago or more. And so who was responsible for this hack? The reptilians, the church, the archons? The hack was the technological installation of the false matrix by those who preside over the earth, which emits a controlling frequency toward the earth that not only reads the thoughts of the people, but guides and instructs them into behaving a certain way in their own interest, the interest of the controllers. This frequency affects not only the people themselves, but also the reincarnation program. The ether fence that surrounds the earth, making escaping nearly impossible. It's a form of mind control, which directs the people to manifest whatever the matrix tells them they should or they should want or need. It's the virtual game we often speak of, incarnating, forgetting who we are, and trying to find ways to remember in order to raise up through the levels and escape the matrix. It's very much like a computer game. Well, when this technology was placed thousands of years ago, it used the collective thoughts of the people against them. It was their own thoughts that imprisoned themselves. But they didn't know this, of course. It works out of fear. This is where religion came into it, subduing the people with fear and executing rules for them to follow with threats of hell and damnation. And probably the most important part of this hack was using this mind control to impose ideas about how everything worked, based on whatever result the controllers were looking for, implanting this totally false program and leading the people into manifesting this negative reality, exploiting them for their energy, coercing them to manifest a reality where the people serve them in every possible way. And now, even more with mass media, people are constantly being indoctrinated into thinking the way the controllers wish them to. And if people are forced, for example, into a situation where they have to work to survive, they don't have time to contemplate anything different, to give them any hope, and advance their consciousness. They simply don't know there's any other way to live. And their job or career is the most important thing. It becomes a status symbol of success, showing that working hard is the virtuous thing to do. They just don't see any other option. And that belief becomes their entire reality. Even after death, the matrix mind control persists as they continue to exploit and manipulate the people. When the controlled masses die, those beings in control might disguise themselves as a light being or an angel, and could, they don't always, but they could choose to intercept them through the lower astral and convince them maybe that they haven't been good enough in this life, telling them that they really messed up. And this could be a case maybe of suicide, or even just a very insecure individual prone to feeling, guilty or remorseful. But the important thing to understand here is that we don't have to listen to them. We don't have to believe them or even recognize them as real. We can just ignore them and move on. Nevertheless, the matrix has the ability to read each person's weaknesses and can use those weaknesses to manipulate them. The beings might show them their recorded life review and insist that they need to go back and do their life all over again in order to pay off their karma. So the newly deceased person concedes to this instruction. If they do, they will not go back home to source. They would just be recycled again back into the next incarnation, doing it all over again. Now, there's another piece to this reincarnation topic that I really find this fascinating. And this is the concept of soul looping. Well, it's not really a different occurrence. It's just a deeper element to the subject. A case of soul looping is where the soul, for whatever reason, wishes to live the exact same life over again as the same person, somewhat like the movie Groundhog Day. And, you know, this could be because they love their life so much, they just want to repeat it for that very reason. But more often, it's because they're sure they can make better choices next time. And they challenge themselves to repeat the exact events over again. This idea of soul looping is where déjà vu comes from. You know, that feeling that you know what comes next. You know what's going to happen the next moment. And that's because you probably already lived that moment before. Now, remember, there's no time in the afterlife or spirit world. So the soul can choose any time frame, past or future, to reincarnate into. However, the soul who wants to loop back into the same life will jump back into that same fetus in the womb of their mother and be born all over again as that same person they just were, and through their original parents. However, there is a downside to this, and after several loops, the soul may begin to feel trapped and wants out, but doesn't know how to do it. It's exactly this that makes the subject of reincarnation so important, especially today. For those of us who are determined to make this our last life on earth, we need to understand fully the potential disadvantages of returning to a physical life on planet Earth. This is a time of ascension, not to repeat cycles of karma. Karma is an old energy and no longer needs to be paid off like an obligatory debt that needs to be settled. This is part of the old system of control, and we no longer need to be concerned or fearful about past errors or misjudgments, or those will continue to own us. All we need to understand is if at some point in our life we did something we now regret and feel remorseful, we can now commit that we would never do this thing again. Now, karma no longer has any hold because the frequency of karma is very low, but the frequency of forgiveness is a very high vibration. So forgive yourself and others. It's necessary to release that grudge, the anger, vengeance, or those disappointments and regrets in order to ascend. Simply make the best out of each experience and let it go. This not only releases the remorse, but replaces the karma with wisdom. The real trick is to finally understand that you are perfect just as you are. Now, just become that frequency of that loving, kind being that you are. This is all that it takes to be free. And don't let anyone try to convince you differently. Okay, let's address some of the questions that were asked. All right. First question, was reincarnation ever a natural and spontaneous process of the miracle of life? Well, yes, it was seen as just that, an opportunity to experience physical life for a myriad of reasons. Reincarnation could be a process where a soul would purposely design a physical body and life that would allow them to interact with and face certain issues or events as a means of evolving or advancing in wisdom. It was also meant to be a vehicle for playtime, to simply enjoy the physical realm without any permanent or lasting consequences. It was understood that it would be a chance to live a dream or a fantasy. It was, the earth was originally made to be a vacation spot for ETs. But with the installation of the matrix became something very different. Okay, second question. Is the reincarnation process fully technological? No, only in some cases. Outside of the immersion technique, walk in, walk down use of technology, the process of reincarnating is quite natural and organic. Where a soul decides to come back through the human birth process and live out a human life. I'm sure what he's talking about here in the question is where an extraterrestrial being uses immersion technology, a computerized virtual reality, to walk into a human body and function as a human for a particular mission or purpose. Actually, the reincarnation process could happen many different ways. A soul could reincarnate directly from source and at death return to source. A soul could reincarnate from the spirit side, from what most of us call the other side, and return to that realm at death. Or, as it was mentioned, a soul might willingly or unwillingly become caught up in a loop of coming directly back into the same life over and over again. Okay, next question. Is it a technology used by many star races or just a few? Yeah, good question. Yeah, in fact, the immersion technology is used by most star races. This is because it's the safest way for the starseed to visit Earth. Even if their human body is killed, they're still safe within the immersion tank or pod. So this is the main technique used by most races who come to live as a human for a short time or for a full lifetime. Okay, fourth question. Are there star races that also dominate and use this technology with bad motivations? Yeah, good question. Yes, there are those who live and work through the astral realm who are able to use the immersion or walk-in technology for control and manipulation through fear, and can sometimes be encountered in a dream state or out-of-body or astral travel. However, their ability to terrorize and cause harm really hinges on the strength and determination of the one they are hoping to intimidate. It's important to just say no. No, we can hold off these beings by letting them know that we're not afraid of them and tell them to leave, and they will. You're of no use to them if you're not fearful. Okay. Question 5. Is there any relationship between karma and the pre-reincarnation plan? Oh, yeah. Sure, but karma isn't really a necessary part of the pre-birth plan. It's just that after death, many souls bring their habits and regrets back to the spirit side with them, and then choose to create a plan based on overcoming these karmic weaknesses or what they feel were mistakes. And, if a human dies without having done, what we call our shadow work, to release negative energetic obstacles and thought forms, these can create blockages, generating a sort of karmic obstruction through this belief, which is an unnecessary burden to bring into the next life. And we can make sure this won't happen if we clean up all of those restrictions during our lifetime. Okay, question 6. I love this, how to reincarnate on a beautiful and peaceful planet. Well, I completely agree. A significant advantage we receive from being awakened is to realize we never have to incarnate on planet Earth again, unless we want to, of course. There are so many amazing and beautiful realms and planets to explore. And all we have to do to make this happen is not allow ourselves to become hooked or addicted to the earth plane. Once we get past our desire for what the earth has to offer, we can go anywhere in the galaxy. And if we still choose, a physical life, there are infinite planets we could incarnate onto. For a vacation or for a lifetime. All right. 7th question. If we experientially realize our true being during reincarnation, will we not reincarnate again? Or what are the requirements for us to not reincarnate again? This is kind of pretty much what I've been talking about. What holds us to the cycle of earthly reincarnation is habit or guilt, regret, and hoping to mend those past mistakes. If we've hurt others or done a poor job in life, then we are vulnerable to psychic attacks and manipulation from astral beings disguising themselves as spirit guides, informing us that we will have to go back for another life on earth. But if we've awakened to our true power as a force of light and love, and have successfully forgiven our past and learned from our mistakes, we're free from the wheel of karma, and there's no need to return to a physical life on earth. And you can choose not to reincarnate again. Yay! Okay. Last question. Do our pets also make an intentional life plan before they are reincarnated? These are just great questions. Well, the way I understand this is that our pets are a part of our own pre-birth plan. They have a different soul than we do and exist more as a part of nature, an extension of our own plan. This is not to say that they're not their own being. They are. But if they've been a part of our life as our pet, this is the role that they've agreed to for that particular existence, as our maybe dog or cat. Although it's very possible for an ET soul to choose to come to Earth as a cat or a dog, let's say, either just for fun or as a means of encouraging or consoling a human through their appearance as a dog or a cat, to to comfort and inspire a child or an adult who may be suffering. But it's usually the intention of the animal soul to be available to us through our plan, if this is something we choose, like horses or cattle, for example. They are energy beings brought into the physical through the mutual intention of a divine soul. If you have a loving pet that has passed from this life, if you choose, the conscious energy of that pet will be there for you on the other side of life, just as they were when they were alive. Our pets are great teachers of love and patience and forgiveness, and their benefit to our physical lives is invaluable. Wow, what a great bunch of questions. Thank you, Paolo. Thanks, guys. See you next time.